signing and agreeing to the bailout package and the conditions to the bailout package. The IMF is not ready to bail out Pakistan with just the assurances from the current disposition. They want assurances from all parties because they also realize how politically unstable Pakistan is, and whoever sits on the throne has to go ahead and adhere and honor the commitments that will be made as conditions of this bailout package. Now, this is at a time when Islamabad is also facing a huge political crisis with the former Interior Minister of Pakistan, Sheikh Rashid Ahmed, who was arrested in the wee hours on Thursday. Clearly, the PTI, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, has opened up cudgels against the current disposition wanting to incarcerate or to try and ensure no challenge to them when they announce elections, and clearly going after Imran's very, very close aides, Sheikh Rashid, and before that Fawad Chaudhry, and Imran Khan himself saying that he could be arrested or assassinated because the plot is only thickening. At this time, to get all parties on board and get a consensus is going to be impossible. The IMF is also wanting ratification from the Assembly over all the steps that they are going to take, which would also a long process, which would take at least 2 weeks for approvals. So there is no way they are going to get this additional bailout. Out of the $6.5 billion package, they've just got about $3.5 billion. They desperately need another $1 billion to take us through this. We have Ambassador Anil Trigodia with us, and also Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow, ORF. Sushant Sareen, this is only going to further deepen the crisis. Many are saying it's just a matter of time before Pakistan declares bankruptcy. And with the IMF conditions, it's going to be very difficult for them to honor any of them.
Yeah, but Anand, you have to understand, why is the IMF imposing these conditions? Simply because the Pakistanis have been, playing the footsie with the IMF for the longest. They keep making assurances, they keep making promises, they keep signing on the dotted line. And the moment the money comes in, they completely and with gay abandon, they violate all their commitments. And I think the IMF has seen through that game. The IMF is now insisting that they need to upfront deliver on all their commitments. Otherwise, the IMF is saying, okay, fine, we are not going to do anything. Now, the Pakistanis tried first that they will try and get some money out of the Saudis and the Chinese and the Emiratis and the Qataris. Everybody said no. Unless you go to the IMF, we are not giving you money. Now they are going to the IMF so that they can get also the money from these guys. Now, both things are not going to happen simultaneously. And the problem for them is going to be that the conditions which the IMF is imposing is actually good for Pakistan.
Right.
It's ironical, but IMF is actually trying to save Pakistan from itself. The problem is the Pakistanis don't want to save themselves now. They still want to live off freebies. They still want to live off other people's money. They don't want to undertake the kind of reforms which they have to take, which I must add are going to be extremely difficult, because what it means is the contraction of the Pakistani state. The way the state is constituted right now, the state structures are constituted right now, will have to be slashed. The army size will have to be cut. The security force size will have to be cut. The kind of expenditures that the Pakistani government undertakes will have to be cut. Subsidies will have to go. All sorts of things will have to happen. So there is going to be a massive storm which Pakistan will have to go through before they can come on the other side. And they are not ready to do it. And the IMF is saying that if your calculation is that we will take down the tube, then you've got another thought coming. Because if you don't deliver, we are not paying you anything. So I think that is where they are at. The only thing is that the Pakistanis might still sign on the dotted line. And then the moment the money comes, again play the same old games which they are so used to playing. So
but
that
here,
is where
this
we are
time
at.
around, these are nearly impossible conditions.
Let me just add one small thing. All of this that we are talking about, everything, right, what I've just said, is only for the next 6 months. It's only till June, when the IMF program ends. Life does not come, and the world will not come to an end. Perhaps Pakistan will, but the world will not come to an end on 30th of June. Next year is another fiscal year where what kind of problems Pakistan is facing today, but even worse problems are going to come. And they've already taken money from every quarter possible. So
And
So really, they are staring down the, they're
barrel here.
testing to a black hole.
No, 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 yeah, not just the barrel, they've actually broken the barrel and dug themselves into a hole which just seems to be an abyss. Ambassador Anil Triguniyat, what's the way out for Pakistan? Can they actually do this? Cut Pindi to size is one of the conditions. Bring all political parties on board and make them signatories to the changes that they're going to make. And what they're going to do is they're going to punish the Pakistani people further. That's what they have to do if they have to get this money from the IMF.
Well, Anand, I think, as you know, that the IMF has very strict conditions which are directly impinging on the very basic policies any country really adopts. And the Pakistan has been one of the countries that has always violated. And as Sushant said very clearly, that it's been erratic regimes all along in Pakistan, and they have been surviving on the kind of issues that they have made with the Americans, with the others, the kind of deals that they have cut all along. So they have been hoping that this time also they will be helped by the Americans or others. But the problem is essentially that this time there are multiple factors that have gone against them. A, this has been a man-made disaster. B, it is a natural disaster, be it because of the floods or because of the pandemic or the
Right.
Russia-Ukraine war for that matter. But their own policies have, and zero-sum policy against India has also cost them dearly. And that's where the
Yeah.
defense reduction, which is what IMF is saying. But I don't know to what extent can the current Pakistani government bring about
Right.
a consensus in the country. That's impossible virtually because the PTI will not come on
Right.
board under the current circumstances, and they'll continue to do that. But at the same time, one should also see what happened recently when there was a conference held where $10 billion were generated at the behest of the UN Secretary General, who even castigated the IMF for its conditionalities.
Well, it's just that जब मुसीबत टूटती है तो सब तरीके से you're crowded from all sides, and Pakistan is not just crowded from all sides, from all dimensions. The problems are compounding for them. We've just got more news coming through soon after. Soon after, Sushantji, I'll just bring in this aspect and then I'll come across to you. Now, this is important because soon after the Peshawar blast, what's happening is in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the law enforcement itself is now up at arms, and they're saying they're threatening the government with mass resignations if there is no serious independent investigation and the perpetrators are not brought to book. The mosque blast at police lines mosque area in the police lines area in Peshawar has claimed more than 100 lives, a lot of them policemen, and injured nearly 300. And these are all policemen largely, and they are coming up and saying this is enough, we are not going to tolerate this anymore. The Khyber Pakhtunkhwa police is actually on the streets protesting over the Peshawar Mosque blast. They are threatening collective resignations. Messages are doing the rounds, urging all the junior rank officers. There is an ultimatum that's been given. They are all signing collective resignations which they will hand over if there are no concrete steps taken and the perpetrators are not brought to book. In fact, we are hearing that ultimatums are being issued of 24 hours or 48 hours before which, and they're saying fixed responsibility, hold the culprits, we know who is behind the blast. And that's what they're alleging. The Khyber Pakhtunkhwa police is threatening to resign en masse if proper investigations are not done, or if the ISI obstructs investigation in the Peshawar district blast. Meanwhile, TTP's attacks are rising in Peshawar. Police officers have come out to the streets in protest against the police line mosque blast. Representatives of different schools of thought are also participating in the protest. The slogans of KP Police or Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Police Zindabad and Aman Gavaru are also being raised by the protesters. Protesters are demanding that a JIT or a joint investigation team be formed to investigate the police line's mosque blast. On the other hand, Mardan police has also come out on the streets against the threat. Junior ranks of the police force in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province are threatening to resign en masse if a proper investigation into the police line mosque suicide bombing is not conducted, and if the KP province sees a repeat of such violence. Sushant Sareen.
Yeah, Anand, before I come to this issue, just let me touch on something that Ambassador Triguniyat mentioned. Actually, they've not got $10 billion. They're not going to get it also. Bulk of that money, including what has been promised to them by the World Bank and by the Islamic Development Bank, is money which was already promised to them earlier. So there's no new money coming in, and it's not money for balance of payments or for budgetary support. It's money for projects, and that will come over a period of 3 to 5 years. So that money,
Right.
if they are banking on that money, it's not going to come. And whatever nonsense the UNSG, this fellow who's deeply in love with Pakistan, I don't know whether he's a Pakistani agent of some sorts, but whatever he says, Guterres, I don't think anybody really takes it very seriously. But now to come back to the more important issue which you have touched, I think what has happened in the aftermath of that suicide attack is something very, very serious. When you have a police force raise fingers and cast aspersions and doubts on the ISI and the Pakistan army for its complicity in this attack, then you have a really serious problem on your hands. It basically means that the state has started to unravel. When you have
Yes.
police officers quit en masse or threaten to quit en masse unless a proper investigation is done, then you have a really serious problem on your hand. It means that your state is atrophying at a rate which is unimaginable. And the reason why this is happening is that there are reports that this fellow who was the suicide bomber was a guy who had earlier been arrested in, I think, if I mistake it, not the Mohmand agency. He had been
Yes.
arrested earlier. He had been handed over to the quote unquote agencies, which is the short form for the ISI, and then he was let go. Was he let go
Right.
under the watch of Faiz Hamid? We are not sure. But
Right.
clearly, he was the man who had been apprehended and let go, and he's carried out this attack. Number one. Number two, it
Right.
is inconceivable. And regardless of whatever spin that the KP police guys, top notch guys, are putting right now, that the guy was in a
Right.
police uniform wearing a helmet and he walked in. You really expect somebody to believe that nonsense? Uh, in cases like this, the strictest kind of scrutiny is done when anybody enters a place like this. Just go to Srinagar someday. Try and
Yeah.
enter the Badami Bagh cantonment. I'm sure you must have tried it.
Right.
No matter who you are, even if you are a general in the army, you go through
Right.
that entire, process. You are
Right.
vetted on three different occasions before you are allowed to enter in, right?
Correct.
You mean to tell me that these guys facing the kind of threat they have will just allow somebody on a motorcycle, a lowly cop, to just enter? Not even an SP, not a DIG, not an IG police. Are you kidding me? So clearly there are fingers which are being pointed out at the
Right.
ISI and the army, and the motives being attributed to them is that one, they're trying to delay elections. Number two, they are trying to show that we are in the midst of a war. These kind of things happen
Right.
right on the eve of an IMF delegation visit, so that we can extract more money from the IMF. The IMF can,
Correct.
give us certain concessions on the conditionalities, stuff like that. So there are a whole lot of, and perhaps most of these are conspiracy theories. But the
Right.
fact that in a country these kind of conspiracy theories can start making the rounds at a time of such national crisis, I think does not augur well for that country or its ability to survive these
Right.
multiple
And,
crises.
and, and if the establishment thinks that it's okay to sacrifice law enforcement personnel or any human being just so that you can make a case or create a
Collateral
mahal
damage.
of no, but this is a failed state on display very clearly. They to expect any level of humanity from this lot is trying to expect that the sun will rise from the west tomorrow morning. But that's not going to happen. But like you said, I think the people's anger is on the boil on ground, and I agree with you there, and it's manifest. And in this region of Pakhtunistan, as the Pashtuns call it, or Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, it's been brewing for the last 4 to 5 years through various forms of unrest. One of that is the militant form, the armed form. And moving to that, before I go back to Ambassador Triguniyat, we just got information about the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is getting further emboldened. Just days after a member of the Pakistan Taliban or TTP blew himself inside a mosque in Peshawar that killed over 100 people, although there are contradicting theories as to who that person was and why that person did what he did. The dreaded outfit has released a report on its activities carried out in January. It has claimed a total of 46 attacks in which 49 were killed and 58 people injured. They are putting out a bahi khata or a kacha chitta of the number of people they have killed and the attacks they have carried out. The TTP released an infographic on its attacks carried out in the neighboring country in January. The report of the militant attacks in different parts of Pakistan was released by TTP's Umar Media. A total of 46 attacks that have claimed 49 deaths and 58 injuries. TTP releasing this infographic in the month of Jan 2023, and the total number is this. According to TTP Media, it includes Charsada, Lucky Marwar, Kila Abdullah, DI Khan, North Waziristan, Pashin, Khanewal, Sorab, Tank, Swabi, DG Khan again, South Waziristan, Khyber Agency, Quetta and Peshawar. These are all the places where they have carried out multiple attacks. TTP Media also claiming that in the month of Jan 2023, 107 security personnel got hit, which includes 60 policemen, 25 army personnel, 13 FC and 9 security agencies. The TTP has held 9 targeted attacks, 5 grenade bomb blasts, 8 ambush attacks, 4 assault attacks, 8 guerrilla attacks, 4 counter attacks, 7 sniper and laser attacks, and 1 suicide attack. The TTP is putting out this entire list, Ambassador Anil Trigoniath. They are claiming 60 police personnel among many more killed.
Well, Anand, I'm not surprised. I mean, it is their own child who has gone rogue. Basically, that's what it is. I mean, it is like the Basmasura story. Frankly, they are the ones who have been using the terrorism or cross-border terrorism as an instrument of their foreign policy all along. And they have been nurturing all these kind of groups in different parts, and now they're coming to get back at them. So I think that this is the Pakistani establishment, that is, or deep state, which is what is to be blamed for this kind of things that have happened and will continue to happen. Pakistan today is a failed economy and is a failed state. I mean, that's it.
Sushant Sarin?
Yeah, and what you need to look at, Anand, is they've been issuing these kind of a report card on their activities ever since I think from around 2021. From around 2021, they started issuing this. There was a hiatus in between when there was the ceasefire of sorts, but from I think around November, these reports are coming out at the end of every month. But I think what is quite remarkable in these reports is the expanding footprint of their activity.
Yes.
Initially, most of these activities were carried out either in some districts of KP or in the so-called tribal districts, the former FATA region. Now you are looking at Sindh, you are looking at Punjab. Khanewal, for example, is in South
Yes.
Punjab. There are reports of attacks in Lahore, in Rawalpindi. You are looking at Quetta. You are looking at other parts of Balochistan. So just look at the expanding footprint of their activity, and I think that is something which is quite should be of great concern to the Pakistanis. Which means that all this talk that these people had been finished, their backbone had been broken, that's a load of nonsense, right? And clearly these guys have not only come back, but even more importantly, look at the kind of political games they are playing.
Yes.
It is a faction of the TTP which has taken claim for the attack. The TTP itself has distanced itself from the attack, but it has not distanced itself from that particular faction.
Correct.
So I have done it also, and I've not done it also. I've condemned it also, but I've owned it also.
Yeah,
The
so I've
same thing
condemned
is with
it
the
plus.
Afghan Taliban.
Yeah.
So, when you look at it in that context, basically it is karma coming back to bite the Pakistanis. These are exactly the kind of games the Pakistanis have played while, exporting terrorism into India, exporting jihad into India. These are exactly the kind of statements you've seen one obnoxious Pakistani foreign office spokesperson after another, their political leaders say.
Right.
And this is all coming back to bite them. Let me give you an example. Every time we would talk to the Pakistanis, both at official and unofficial level, they would,
Ji.
taunt us that, you have this nice fence along the LOC. People have to
Correct.
travel for more than 100 kilometers to reach Srinagar. Why don't you stop them when they enter into your jurisdiction? Why have you made this fence? Now the boot is on the other foot because people who come from Afghanistan also cross a fence. People who come from Afghanistan also travel over 100 kilometers to reach the targets. And
Yeah.
what do the Pakistanis say? And the Afghans are now telling the Pakistanis that, look, this is your problem. You sort it out. It has nothing to do with us.
Exactly.
Exactly what the
I was just going to go to that only because we've just got Muttaqi's soundbite here, where Afghanistan Taliban have rejected allegations that their territory was used in the weeks the Peshawar Mosque bombing, urging the neighboring country, that is Pakistan, to thoroughly investigate such terror acts before blaming others. Taliban Foreign Minister Amir Khan Muttaqi has said that Pakistani officials should find a solution to their security challenges locally and desist from sowing seeds of enmity between the two Muslim nations. This is what Muttaqi has said. Don't blame us for the bombing, you do your own investigation. So the shoe is on the other foot, Ambassador Trigoniat, as Sushant Sareen was saying.
I mean, in
if I
fact,
might ask him,
if you
isn't
come to
this
think of it,
exactly
this
the
seems
language
rather
which
well.
Pakistani Foreign Office spokespersons used to use with India?
Yeah,
absolutely.
no, yes. Yes,
No,
Ambassador
but
Trigoniat.
if you look at the Taliban has been maintaining their own stance that they have. You see, when the Rawalpindi people went to them and asked to intervene with the TTP, they refused, the Taliban government. And today they are saying that because their basic fundamental uh, uh, assurance to the world is that they will not allow Afghanistan to be the pedestal for exporting terrorism into any other country. Right. So that's their own. So they continue to maintain that. So Mutaki obviously has distanced himself and anything to do with Taliban, and they are totally saying that this is for the Pakistani government to essentially somehow or the other resolve it, their own contradictions.
Well, we got more news coming through. We've now got another rabble rouser. This is Saad Rizvi of Tehreek-e-Labbaik. This is a banned outfit. It was previously banned. This Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan party, Saad Rizvi, has asked the Pak government to go to nations with a nuclear bomb in one hand and Quran in the other. And instead of begging for aid, Saad Rizvi was talking about burning of Quran in Sweden and the Netherlands and said that the response by the Pak government was weak. He said the Pak government failed to teach those who burnt the holy book a lesson.
तुम दुनिया में सदर को लेके, वजीर आजम को लेके, अपनी तमाम काबीना को लेके जहाज भर के पाकिस्तान की इकोनॉमी बचाने के लिए चीफ ऑफ आर्मी स्टाफ को भी आगे लगाकर दुनिया में जाकर हर एक के दरवाजे पर भीख मांग रहे हो। कोई तुम्हें देता है, कोई तुम्हें नहीं देता, कोई अपनी शराइत मनवाता है। क्यों जा रहे हो? कहा जी मुल्क की इकोनॉमी खतरे में है, हम मुल्क की मैशत बचाने के लिए जा रहे हैं। मैंने कहा इधर आओ, तुम कहते हो पाकिस्तान की रोडों पे निकलने से कुछ नहीं होता, एक बार बाहर निकलो, कुरान को दाएं हाथ में उठाओ और एटम बम वाले बक्से को बाएं हाथ में उठाओ और पूरी काबीना भर के स्वीडन ले जाओ और जाकर कहो कि हम कुरान के तहफ्फुज़ के लिए आए हैं। सारी कायनात की नेमतें अगर तुम्हारे पांव में ना आ गई तो हमारा नाम बदल के रख देना।
So we have now such rabid radicals and rabble rousers getting a free run in Pakistan, Sushant Sari.
Yeah,
Holy book in one hand, nuclear bomb in the other. They will go out and say on public platforms and nobody will take any action against them.
Yeah, before I come to Saad Rizvi, just one more thing which I wanted to say on the previous issue. You remember that in 2004, the Pakistanis signed an agreement with us, just like a
Yes.
Doha agreement, that we
Yes.
will not allow the use of Pakistani soil for terrorism against India. How did that pledge or that promise turn out? This is the same thing which the Taliban have promised the world, and how is that turning out? So no difference there. Again, you can. It's very clear how the Taliban are behaving. They've learned well at the feet of their treacherous masters, the Pakistanis. But on Saad Rizvi, look, no surprises there, Anand. Saad Rizvi's father, Khadim Hussain Rizvi, has this celebrated clip on how to solve Pakistan's debt problem. He said that we are, as a Muslim country, we don't believe in interest. So we are not going to give you interest, right? Yes, you have given us loans. So promise to return your loans, but we will return it at our own sweet will. Whenever we have the money. And if you press us too much, we will throw a nuclear bomb on you. So what Saad Rizvi is saying is exactly the same thing. He's not talking anything different from his now deceased father. He's saying the same nonsense which his father used to spout. But the important thing is, Saad Rizvi is getting enormous amounts of support on the streets of Pakistan. Among the dispossessed and the unwashed masses of Pakistan, Saad Rizvi and his party is striking a chord. So we might dismiss him as a rabble-rouser or as the rants of a madman, but these are the kind of crazies who are actually now likely to run Pakistan, which is great because nothing will destroy Pakistan more than what these guys will do. So rather than being afraid of these, I think we should encourage these guys to take over power in Pakistan.
Right. Well, Ambassador Anil Triguniyat and Sushant Sarinji, thank you very much for joining us here on this edition of The Nation at 5. We've just got more news coming through. The MEA has reacted to the vandalism on Hindu temples in Australia and in Canada. We've conveyed our firm rejection of the so-called Khalistan referendum and politically motivated exercises. We've requested Australia to ensure safety and of the Indian community and do not allow use of Australian territory that will be detrimental to the integrity of India and its national security. This is what Arindam Bagchi, spokesperson of the MEA, has said. They've also said that we strongly condemn such attacks by extremist elements and urge local authorities to punish perpetrators. We've been repeatedly taking up our concern with Australian authorities about action by elements including proscribed terrorist organizations. This has also been said. Listen in.
We have also conveyed our firm rejection of the so-called Khalistan referendum and the politically motivated exercises by extremist elements. We have been repeatedly taking up with the Australian authorities our concerns.
Time for a very short break here on The Nation at 5. Stay with us. He clearly said, a Samriddha, Samarth and Sampanna Bharat. That's the vision for 2047. So let's try and break up what stands out for you and me, the salaried class, ladies and gentlemen. The highlight is tax mein kuch bachega ke liye, tax mein kuch bachega liye. For 2 years, nothing happened, Zaka. But this time, big bang announcements.
Yeah, I think for the middle class, absolutely, it is the tax numbers that everybody is crunching. They're looking at the new tax regime. First of all, the big picture, the new tax regime up until last year had 7 slabs. She's now slashed that down to 5. So it's an important thing. The big announcement, of course, is that if you have an income, like Anand was saying, up to 7 lakh rupees, then you pay no income tax whatsoever. Anything above 7 lakhs, then this is the new tax regime. These are the rates as per which you will be paying your tax. So let's assume you have an income of 8 lakh rupees, which means for the first 3 lakh rupees, you will not be paying any income tax. Between 3 lakh and 6 lakh rupees, that's 3 lakh rupees, you will pay 5%, that's 15,000 rupees. And then for the remaining 6 lakh to 8 lakh, which is 2 lakh rupees, you will pay at 10%, which is 30,000. So effectively, your net tax at an income of 8 lakh rupees annually would be 45,000 rupees, which would be a net saving, and we'll get to that in 1 second. But I think what they've essentially done, what the Finance Minister has essentially done, is rationalize both the slabs and the rates. From 7 rates, we've gone down to 5 rates now. And I think that is a very, very clear signal, a nudge that the new tax regime is where you need to be.
Where we go back to that number, ये बस trailer था, just to give you an understanding. There are many people who have more questions and more issues. We'll play out what the Prime Minister. There's one other important aspect, salient feature of the budget, which are the sectors where the focus has been kept, along with, of course, doing something for the middle class. It's not a populist budget, many people say, but if you look at the fine print, all the various dynamics which will be used over the next 18 months are there. The play is there. 15,000 crore for tribal development, an important vote bank which been spoken about. There is huge amounts of investment in agri-tech, agricultural startups, and of course rising millet production. Again, incentivizing the farmer, dairy, fisheries, again, water bank, which is going to be critical. which is going to be important. So revamp credit guarantee for MSMEs, another sector which is critical if you want to boost our manufacturing.
Let's listen in to the Prime Minister himself, who spoke to the media soon after the budget was presented by Nirmala Sitharaman. Let's not forget, this is the last full budget before the general elections of 2024. The Prime Minister has said that this has laid foundation for building developed India.
अमृत काल का ये पहला बजट विकसित भारत के विराट संकल्प को पूरा करने के लिए एक मजबूत नींव का निर्माण करेगा। ये बजट वंचितों को वरीयता देता है। ये बजट आज की एस्पिरेशनल सोसाइटी, गांव, गरीब, किसान, मध्यम वर्ग, सभी के सपनों को पूरा करेगा। मध्यम वर्ग के साथ खड़ी रहने वाली हमारी सरकार ने मध्यम वर्ग को टैक्स में बड़ी राहत दी है। इस सर्वस्पर्शी और विकसित भारत के निर्माण को गति देने वाले बजट के लिए मैं फिर एक बार निर्मला जी और उनकी पूरी टीम को बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं।
Samriddh, Samarth or Sampann Bharat. These were the three pillars on which India is envisioning its road ahead till 2047. But as Nirmala Sitharaman said, 7 pillars or Saptarishi. First up, inclusive development announcements for women, SC, ST, OBCs, other underprivileged groups, along with taking care of the salaried middle class, the government employees who are going to retire, pension person, senior citizens, everybody's been spoken about. Reaching the last mile or Antyodaya, this has been a stated vision, and they want to follow the ideals of Vinoba Bhave and the likes of Deen Dayal Upadhyay and Mahatma Gandhi. So aspirational blocks program for distribution of government services. So from aspirational districts, they move to block level, where they also want to encourage government, state governments to start building unity malls where everybody can converge. Farmers, local producers can come there and sell their produce. So unity malls is something which they want to push. Capex outlay increased steeply by 33%. So this is the infrastructure and investment. That's the third pillar. The fourth pillar is unleashing the potential. National data governance policy for innovation and research for startups. This time around, very aggressively pushing agri startups. So at the rural level, encouraging entrepreneurship and a certain level of initiative. Financial sector, it looks at the MSME revamp schemes, getting an infusion of 9,000 crore plus into the entire corpus and strengthening what is going to be the driving force in our push to becoming a manufacturing economy or a nation too, along with services. 35,000 crore capital investment towards energy transition. Green growth is something which we are committed to, and like Mr. Kant and Paramayar were saying, sustainability is core to our growth, and we need to leapfrog, take that jump, and that can be done only with youth power. So the next pillar, PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana 4.0, to skill lakhs of youth with new age courses, on the job training and sector wise skilling. And this would be also part of the entire Vishwakarma initiative, where those who are doing the hard skilled labor and work, craftsmen, they will also be encouraged. So these are the 7 pillars that Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, the Finance Minister, spoke about. Let's listen into a short excerpt of her 1 hour 25-minute long budget speech.
I propose to increase the rebate limit to 7 lakh in the new tax regime, the new personal income tax regime, with 6 income slabs starting from 2.5 lakh. I propose to change the tax structure in this regime by reducing the number of slabs to 5 and increasing the tax exemption limit to 3 lakhs. The new tax rates are 0 to 3 lakh, nil. 3 to 6 lakhs, 5%. 6 to 9.
Back on the nation at 5 with the latest coming in from Tamil Nadu, where the standoff between those who are fighting for freeing Hindu temples from the clutches of the government, especially the HRNC department. There's another big turn there because a plea has been filed in the Madras High Court. This petitioner, the petitioner T.R. Ramesh, has filed a fresh affidavit before the Madras High Court upon advice of the division bench of the same Madras High Court. The petitioner has told the High Court that the Tamil Nadu government, as part of the HRNC department, is committing illegality, indulged in misappropriation of funds of Hindu temples. We have with us T.R. Ramesh, the president of the Temple Worshippers Society. Vanakkam, Mr. Ramesh, can you please take us through what comprises your petition and what is the allegation that you're making? I have some excerpts where you have also alleged that the HRNC department actually bought luxury vehicles from temple fund.
Yes, absolutely. It has been going on for many years now. There is a Thiruvarkadu Mariamman temple near Chennai, where 2 cars were earlier bought for the Honorable Minister for HRNC department. One for himself and one for his secretary. And one more car from Thiruvannamalai temple for the same minister. And one more Innova car from Kapalishwara temple for the same minister. That was during the AIDMK period. Now, the HRNC department apparently, within quotes, has bought 85 vehicles. When I probed into this, I realized these vehicles are being bought with temple funds. For example, the Thiruvannamalai Arunachaleshwara temple has bought 4 Bolero SUVs, saying that the financial position of the temple is good, so we are buying 4 vehicles. And Madurai Meenakshi Sundareswara temple has bought a Innova Krista, the top-end vehicle, for 30 plus lakhs, saying that we want to oversee the protection of Kumkum. We want to go see the temple lands which have been leased to tillers, as if the tillers won't pay the annual dues unless you come in a Innova Krista. And it is bought for 30 lakh rupees. Again, the Swami Malai Swaminatha Swami temple has bought 1 Bolero Jeep for itself and 1 for the regional joint commissioner. These are like 85 vehicles. The HRNC needs to clarify why they are buying vehicles with the temple funds when they are taking 12% as administration cost and 4% as audit fee, 16% of the total income of the temples. That is just one aspect of misappropriation of temple funds.
You have also alleged illegality with impunity, if I can quote your petition.
Yes. Because
what is this illegality?
As their own money. Sorry, Anand, I didn't get you.
You said you have cited the fact that they are committing illegalities with impunity, including misappropriation. So what are the other kind of illegalities that they are committing?
Okay, now you would agree with me that the regional office of the HRNC department in various regions, they are necessarily government buildings. Now, why does this government take the property of temples and building government offices there with the temple money? For example, they have built a regional joint commissioner office in Meenakshi Sundareswara's temple land with money taken from 5 temples. And to bypass government order being passed here, they have kept the amounts below 1 crore rupees, 99 lakhs. Then they added another expense, which is 40 lakhs. Then they added another expense, which is 25 lakhs. These kind of things have been done in Trichy, in Madurai, in Mayiladurai. All these places belong to the temples. The monies belong to the various different temples. Government offices are being constructed with temple monies. And the most shocking part is not a single rupee rent is being paid from these properties to the respective temples.
So not a single amount of rent is being paid. It is temple land on which you are saying government offices are being built, and these government officials, and including ministers in the government, are using temple funds, Hindu temple funds, for their own luxury. They are buying cars for their own use, but it is stated that it is for monitoring and supervision.
Yes, I have not mentioned this in the affidavit, but for even having departmental meetings, regular meetings of the department, the food and other bills are paid by respective temples in the region. But that is like in 25,000, 30,000 rupees. I have not mentioned them, but I have mentioned things that have happened in crores in my affidavit.
what has, and this you have said, did you do this at the advisement of the Madras High Court itself? And what happens next? My final question.
Okay. Now, why did I file this? I had filed an public interest litigation in November 2021, alleging that the government is building secular colleges without religious instruction using temple funds. Number one, the Kapalishwara temple has to fund a college which is being built in Kolattur, the constituency of the Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Stalin. The Tiruchendur Subramania Swami temple has to fund a college which is being built 90 kilometers away from the temple in Velatikulam, coming under the parliamentary constituency of Ms. Kanimozhi, the Honorable Member of Parliament. Now, these are all political, claimed as political achievements by these people, but with temple funds. So I filed a public interest litigation. 4 colleges were allowed to continue because students have already enrolled and the classes have started. 6 colleges were stayed by the Honorable Division Bench, subject to the 4 colleges being subject to the final order. Now, in that case, I had brought to the attention of the Honorable Division Bench judges all these expenses, all these vehicles being bought, all these buildings being built with the temple funds. So, Honorable Division Bench directed me to file an additional affidavit so that they could consider the allegations. In that final additional affidavit, I have asked for external audit. I have asked for a constitution of a special police investigation team.
When is the next hearing on this matter?
Next hearing on this matter is on the 8th, the coming 8th. The matter will be heard the 8th of February.
So we'll track the developments closely, and we look forward to speaking with you post the hearing on the 8th, Mr. Ramesh. So this is your allegation, and you've filed it in court, and I'm sure you will be asked to furnish the proof for the allegations that you make.
No, every allegation with the proofs, and I have cited in my additional affidavit the page numbers in which the proofs have been appended.
Thank you for your inputs, and thank you for joining us. So clearly, the fight to free Hindu temples by those who allege that temple funds are being misused, and deliberately so, by netas and government. There is enough and more proof that this is happening in Tamil Nadu. That's what is being alleged. We will quickly stay with Tamil Nadu, but move to the political aspect of it, where there is huge infighting within the AIADMK ranks, with both EPS Edappadi Palaniswamy and O. Paneerselvam at loggerheads. The battle between the two has intensified just ahead of the Erode Assembly by-polls. After Edappadi Palaniswamy announced a candidate for the ensuing by-election, expelled leader, former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister O. Paneerselvam has also fielded a candidate in the name of the party. While OPS faction candidate Senthil Murugan has no political background, EPS has given the ticket to a veteran, K.S. Tennarasu. K.S. Tennarasu is a 2-time former MLA from Erode East, having won in 2001 and 2016. Both the factions announced their candidate a day after Tamil Nadu BJP President K. Annamalai said the party is not keen in contesting the by-poll and that their focus is the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Remember, the Supreme Court is also expected to hear this matter on Friday.
AIADMK has demonstrated in the past that it can go ahead in any elections all alone. And our Edappadiar, standing with our leader, Purushi Thalavi Amma, who takes time to take a decision, but once a decision is taken, she doesn't look back. She doesn't wait for anyone. Following her footsteps, EPS will take time to decide, but once he decides, he doesn't go back. So we have taken a call to face these Erode elections under AIADMK. The judgment is pending. We're confident to win the 2-leaf symbol. We don't wait for anybody. So this signal is same.
அனைத்து இந்திய அண்ணா திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தினுடைய கழக சட்ட விதிப்படி நடந்த கழக அமைப்பு ரீதியான தேர்தலில் ஒருங்கிணைப்பாளராக நானும் இணை ஒருங்கிணைப்பாக திரு எடப்பாடி பழனிசாமி தேர்ந்தெடுக்கப்பட்டு 2026 வரை எங்களுடைய பதவி இருக்கிறது. தமிழக மக்களும் பாரதிய ஜனதா கட்சியும் அனைத்து இந்திய அண்ணா திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகம் ஒன்றுபட வேண்டும் என்பதுதான் அவருடைய விருப்பமாக இன்று வரை இருக்கிறது என்று தெரிவிக்கிறேன்.
Purnima Murli now joins us with more details on this. Purnima, which of them holds the symbol then, if they are filing two candidates or candidates respectively? And what does the BJP do? It's not going to contest, but have they decided who their cadre or who they will try and support or mobilize support for on ground?
Well, sources from the BJP say that whoever gets the two-leaf symbol, the support will go to that particular camp, whether it's the EPS or the OPS camp. While as per the poll body, which is the Election Commission of India, the latest report that's there in the Election Commission says that ADMK works on a dual leadership formula. And that is why Edappadi Palaniswamy has approached the Supreme Court and asked for an urgent hearing, seeking direction to the poll body to ensure that he is made the interim General Secretary and gets the two-leaf symbol. Edappadi is not able to his camp is not able to go ahead and file nomination because they still don't have the two-leaf symbol as per the latest ECI, which says that both EPS and OPS will have to sign. And that's why tomorrow's case is going to be interesting to see who gets the two-leaf symbol. And whoever gets it, the BJP will offer support to that particular camp, is what we are hearing from the sources.
So it all hinges on the judgment that is expected on Friday. Purnima, thank you for your input. Thank you for your inputs. We're going to take a very quick break here on The Nation at 5. When we come back, the Shilas, all the way from Nepal, have reached Ayodhya. We'll get you the ground report. Stay with us.
Will be enhanced from 15 lakh to 30 lakhs of rupees. The maximum deposit limit for monthly income account scheme will be enhanced from 4.5 lakh to 9 lakh for single account and from 9 lakh to 15 lakh for joint account. Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana 4.0 will be launched to skill lakhs of youth within the next 3 years. On-job training, industry partnership and alignment of courses with needs of industry will be emphasized.
So let's quickly look at the highlights of Budget 2023 and why we say it's Sabka Budget. It's got fiscal prudence in consideration, it's got poll considerations. So there is about the vision of Bharat in 2047, but there is also the vision of the ballot in 2024 and of course the build-up in the states. We got Zaka on the wall, not with the poll numbers, but with the budget numbers this time, and we look at all of that in detail. But let's signpost some of the salient features. The growth via higher capital spending up by 33% to 10 lakh crore rupees. It surprised everybody and the corporate world has welcomed it. Focus on fiscal prudence continues. No tax on salary up to 7 lakh rupees in the new tax regime. So it's an out and out rebate if your salary is 7 lakhs. If it is more than that, then you get into the slabs which have also been revised in the new tax regime. Tax savings for young and retired continue. Nudge to the new tax regime is very clearly evident. This capex target of 10 lakh crore is very, very important because this capital expenditure is what will solve perhaps the jobs problem, ladies and gentlemen. Is everybody happy about it? We have to wait and see whether or not everybody is happy about it. What are the other allocations and some of the other sectors that have been taken care of in this budget? Let's try and understand. The PM Awas Yojana, the outlay has been hiked by 66%. So the construction, building of homes, affordable homes for those for whom the dream of a makan, their own makan, a chhat on their head, was a far distant dream. They want to take that further. But what that does is that again generates employment, the steel industry, cement industry, and of course the labor intensive industry. 35,000 crore for green energy transition, and it's being incentivized because sustainability, green energy is one of the 7 pillars which the finance minister said Saptarishi. 2.4 lakh crore out of the 10 lakh crore is the outlay for railways. So infrastructure push continues. So they're on that path. They're staying steady and they're not deviating from it. It's perhaps the biggest ever allocation that's ever happened for railways. And then what are the other salient features that stand out? Is there something in there for the Kisan? Yes. Is skilling an important aspect that will be considered? Yes. And these pushes are over the next 3-year horizon. So they're looking beyond Lok Sabha 2024. And the Prime Minister very, very clearly said a Samriddha, Samarth and Sampanna Bharat. That's the vision for 2047. So let's try and break up what stands out for you and me, the salaried class, ladies and gentlemen. The highlight is tax mein kuch bachega ke liye, tax mein kuch bachega ke liye. For 2 years, nothing happened, Zaka. but this time big bang announcements.
Yeah, I think for the middle class, absolutely, it is the tax numbers that everybody is crunching. They're looking at the new tax regime. First of all, the big picture, the new tax regime up until last year had 7 slabs. She's now slashed that down to 5. So it's an important thing. The big announcement, of course, is that if you have an income, like Anand was saying, up to 7 lakh rupees, then you pay no income tax whatsoever. Anything above 7 lakhs, then this is the new tax regime. These are the rates as per which you will be paying your tax. So let's assume you have an income of 8 lakh rupees, which means for the first 3 lakh rupees, you will not be paying any income tax. Between 3 lakh and 6 lakh rupees, that's 3 lakh rupees, you will pay 5%, that's 15,000 rupees. And then for the remaining 6 lakh to 8 lakh, which is 2 lakh rupees, you will pay at 10%, which is 30,000. So effectively, your net tax at an income of 8 lakh rupees annually would be 45,000 rupees, which would be a net saving, and we'll get to that in 1 second. But I think what they've essentially done, what the finance minister has essentially done, is rationalize both the slabs and the rates. From 7 rates, we've gone down to 5 rates now. And I think that is a very, very clear signal, a nudge that the new tax regime is where you need to be.
Where we go back to that number, ये बस trailer था, just to give you an understanding. There are many people who have more questions and more issues. We'll play out what the Prime Minister. There's one other important aspect, salient feature of the budget, which are the sectors where the focus has been kept, along with, of course, doing something for the middle class. It's not a populist budget, many people say, but if you look at the fine print, all the various dynamics which will be used over the next 18 months are there. The play is there. 15,000 crore for tribal development, an important vote bank which been spoken about. There is huge amounts of investment in agri-tech, agricultural startups, and of course rising millet production. Again, incentivizing the farmer, dairy, fisheries, again, water bank, which is going to be critical, which is going to be important. So revamp credit guarantee for MSMEs, another sector which is critical if you want to boost our manufacturing.
Let's listen in to the Prime Minister himself, who spoke to the media soon after the budget was presented by Nirmala Sitharaman. Let's not forget, this is the last full budget before the general elections of 2024. The Prime Minister has said that this has laid foundation for building developed India.
अमृत काल का ये पहला बजट विकसित भारत के विराट संकल्प को पूरा करने के लिए एक मजबूत नींव का निर्माण करेगा। ये बजट वंचितों को वरीयता देता है। ये बजट आज की एस्पिरेशनल सोसाइटी, गांव, गरीब, किसान, मध्यम वर्ग, सभी के सपनों को पूरा करेगा। मध्यम वर्ग के साथ खड़ी रहने वाली हमारी सरकार ने मध्यम वर्ग को टैक्स में बड़ी राहत दी है। इस सर्वस्पर्शी और विकसित भारत के निर्माण को गति देने वाले बजट के लिए मैं फिर एक बार निर्मला जी और उनकी पूरी टीम को बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं।
Samriddh, Samarth or Sampann Bharat. These were the 3 pillars on which India is envisioning its road ahead till 2047. But as Nirmala Sitharaman said, 7 pillars or Saptarishi. First up, inclusive development announcements for women, SC, ST, OBCs, other underprivileged groups, along with taking care of the salaried middle class, the government employees who are going to retire, pension person, senior citizens. Everybody's been spoken about. Reaching the last Back on the nation at 5 with the news that the two Shaligram stones weighing 18 tons and 16 tons respectively have made their way from Nepal to Ayodhya for being now they will be crafted or worked on by the artisans to come out, make the statue of Ramlala Virajman and of course many other statues that will be carved out of these stones. The stones are most likely to be used for, like I said, the idol of Ramlala for the Ram Janmabhoomi or the temple at Ram Janmabhoomi, considered to be by many being more than 6 crore years old. The stones are accompanied by around 100 Vishwa Hindu Parishad office bearers and a 5-member delegation from Nepal, which has embarked upon a nearly 600-kilometer long Shila Yatra. So this is where it started. If you were to call out where does it, the origins are at the Gandaki river. In Nepal, the Shaligram stones are known to be very, very holy and have huge value among Hindu Astha. So it started from Janakpur in Nepal, thought to be the birthplace of Sita. And they were extracted from the Gandaki river, which is supposed to have, the Shaligram stones are found only in this river. The Gandaki river flows in as Shaligram river and then eventually merges into the Ganga when it enters India. So Janakpur, Nepal, 53 kilometers. Madhubani, that's where it entered into India after it traversed this 53-kilometer distance from Janakpur towards Madhubani, and then a 42-kilometer journey to Benipatti in Bihar. From there, another 40 kilometers to Darbhanga, 62 kilometers to Muzaffarpur, and there were huge turnouts in Madhubani, in Benipatti, Darbhanga, Muzaffarpur, and then of course in Gopalganj. From Gopalganj, this 141-kilometer journey, and then it entered into Uttar Pradesh, where it then stopped at Kushinagar. There was a halt at Kushinagar, from Kushinagar to Gorakhpur, and from Gorakhpur, the 134-kilometer journey to Ayodhya in Uttar Pradesh. So this is where it came. These stones have got huge historical value, ladies and gentlemen. Let me also give you some more details. Now, the Shaligram stone is a fossiled ammonite. That's the nature of this stone. Fossilized ammonite. This type of mollusk, this type of mollusk lived more than 60 million years ago. That's why these stones are believed to be aged nearly 6 crore years. It is found in the sacred rivers of the Himalayas, found particularly in the Gandaki river in Nepal. Now, the stone is supposedly and considered to be a representation of Lord Vishnu, and that's the reason why all those deities who are considered avatars of Vishnu or amshas of Vishnu, their idols are usually crafted with a Shaligrama stone. And I'm sure a lot of Vaishnav Bhaks or Vishnu Bhaks across the country watching this broadcast would have a Shaligram stone in their home. Vishnu took the form of the Shaligram stone. He took the form of the stone to defeat Hayagriva. That's what the folklore says. That's the story. That's how the story goes. Worshipped as a symbol of Vishnu's power, it is considered to have very divine properties, believed to bring good luck and prosperity. It's considered to be talismanic, supposed to ward off negative energies. Ancient Hindu temples were built with this stone, not just the deities, but even the sanctum was designed with this stone. Pranshu Mishra was down on ground and had a close look at the Shaligram stones in Ayodhya. Have a look at this report.
As the construction of the Grand Ram Temple gains pace in Ayodhya, these are the two huge several tons of Shaligram rocks that have now arrived in Ayodhya all along the way when they started their journey from Nepal and all along their way to Bihar and then parts of Uttar Pradesh, Gorakhpur especially in Uttar Pradesh. They have seen a lot of crowd turnover. People have been, getting close to these rocks to get a glimpse of them, touch them, and in fact they have been treated with a lot of religious fervor, a lot of reverence by the devotees here. So in the build-up to the general elections the next year, 2024, this also is a very important moment as far as the construction of Ram Temple is concerned. These are two slabs, one in front of me and the other one, which is the bigger slab. The bigger slab would be used for carving out the idol of Lord Rama, and then the smaller one of Goddess Sita. Now this is a big moment out here because construction, we all know, the people of the trust have said that by January next year the Ram Temple would be open to devotees, and before that the idols need to be installed to be carved out.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching Plain Speak here on CNN News 18 with me, Poonam Borde. In the recent past, we've heard the clamour and the opposition for a uniform civil code. Even today, it came up in the parliament when Law Minister of the country said, as of now, there is no plan to bring in the uniform civil code. That was what the Law Minister, Kiran Rijiju, informed the Rajya Sabha today. Now, while the debate over edging out personal laws has been raging for a while now, today, an interesting case has come to the fore. In a landmark decision, the Madras High Court declared the Shariat Court's ratification of a unilateral divorce as null and void. The court stated that Muslim women can they can get a divorce only via the family court like any other individual in this country. Self-declared private organizations or private bodies such as Shariat councils cannot arbitrate in such matters, and such decisions by any of these entities will be invalid, was the clear word. Now, the court was hearing a case of Kula. The court ruled that while it is open for a Muslim woman to exercise her inalienable right to dissolve the marriage by Kula, it can only be done by approaching a family court. It cannot be done before a self-declared body